All right, Pisces, welcome to your February tarot forecast. Today we are going to be looking at just some major themes from the month, some challenges that you might face, how to overcome them, and just some key concepts that I think you should keep in mind as we go through February. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so starting right off the bat, we got a lot going on, Pisces. You got a lot going on this month. We have 5 major arcana cards that we can see. We still have 3 that are turned over. These 3 cards are going to be, the word escapes my mind right now. These cards are going to be standing for the difficulties we might face because we never know what kind of obstacles we're going to have. So let's just for now work through this top line. This top line is going to just be the kind of major themes for the month, just kind of our overall broad view of the month of February. And holy cow, Pisces, you got a lot going on. We have the World in reverse, the Hermit, and the Magician in reverse. So what this is telling me is we really need to do some self-reflection. Also, this month seems like there's big things happening, kind of indicative by these major arcana cards. You've got 5 of them. Hermit twice. We got the Emperor in reverse, the World, Magician. We also have this Manifest Oracle card over here on the side. Additionally, not a major arcana card, but we do have the King of Swords in reverse down here as well in the considerations for the month. And I do really kind of feel like he is sort of the minor arcanas version of the Emperor, and we have them next to each other in the reverse position, both of them. So we'll be taking a look at that here in a bit. Let's get back up on this top row, key concepts. So first things first, Hermit, self-reflection, withdrawing in to really take some time to just figure out what's going on inside of us. Now, the reason I'm pointing to the Hermit first and thinking that this is where we really need to put a lot of attention is because on either side of the Hermit, we have the Magician in the reverse and we have the World in reverse. So to me, already, this is signifying end of a cycle, beginning of a new cycle, right? 21-1. Cycle, completion, right? And we have these big major arcana cards. So this is something big is happening for you, Pisces. Something big is happening this month for you. However, I think it's important that we're noting these cards are in the reverse, right? So something here is not clicking. Something is not adding up. We're having some, we might be finishing up something and not feeling that sense of success and accomplishment that we thought that we were going to have. And so now, we're finishing it up and we're kind of moving on to this next task, this new thing, this new beginning, this Magician here. But we're just not feeling right. Just not feeling good. We're feeling unfulfilled. There's something there that is not sitting right with us. And because of that blockage, because of this self-doubt, because of whatever it is that's happening within us that is just not making this kind of have the outcome that we were anticipating, we have this Magician in reverse, right? So now moving forward, going into whatever next cycle that we're moving into, we're going to be unable to, and when I say we, I mean you, Pisces. I just, I include myself in this because I am speaking for you, for universal energy. And so I just believe to use inclusive statements. So when I say we, I mean you, Pisces, but let me just get some Pisces energy too. Lost my train of thought, back on focus. So the Magician in the reverse. So we're not manifesting, this is in the reverse. The Magician is in action. There's a blockage there. Maybe we have all the things we need, but for whatever reason, we're just not able to put everything together in a meaningful way to move on forward. So what do we have? Hermit, right? Pisces. Pisces is like a very spiritual sign of the astrology. It is the final sign of the cycle. Once again, we're looking at ending of cycles, beginning of new cycles. Pisces is going to be the last season of the year until we move into Aries season, which starts the new year. The new lunar year, I should say. So back to this Hermit. And there's a lot of focus on this Hermit too. We know this because we have 2 Hermits, okay? 2 Hermits, both in the upright. in the major themes and the considerations for the month. So this introspection, this time away, this withdrawn, this inward looking and evaluation is going to be absolutely critical for the month of February for you Pisces, okay? So let's move on. We can come back. Actually, before we move on, let's look at this oracle card. So oracle card, light dancer, illumination, the radiant self, shining soul. Okay, once again, to me, this just is indicative of ascension. It is indicative of looking within and maybe evaluating some things that need to change. You know, obviously we see this cycle. Well, when we have a cycle, what does that mean? That means things are changing. There's transformation. Manifest, transformation, change. Key concept here, this whole idea of cycles. So while we're going through this, let's view things in a way that allow us to move in a higher direction, a higher vibrational energy, okay? So we might be feeling down or negative or having some sort of ill feelings, mostly to ourselves. This is definitely pointing to something internally and not so much at the external world, but something inside of us is feeling negative. That's why we have these cards in reverse. So let's try to reflect, Hermit, and let's see if we can reframe these so that we're now viewing them in a more positive light, an illuminated light for this light dancer card, okay? Moving on. Let's take a look at this middle roll. This middle roll is going to show us these challenges. So the challenges are going to be represented. That's the word I was looking for earlier. These challenges are going to be represented by these 3 overturned cards, right? Because we typically don't foresee challenges coming. These are like unforeseen challenges. We don't know what they're going to be. But what we can do is have a plan in place in order to overcome obstacles that we feel like we might encounter along the way. So we have these 2 tarot cards, which are turned upright so that we can see. These just represent having established plans in place, contingency plans, just anything that we know we can kind of fall back on to deal with things. We also have these 2 oracle cards on either side. So these are just going to be some additional guidance, direction that's going to kind of help get through these obstacles here in the center. But please note, they are outside of the main tarot spread, so they can also be influencing these other rows of our card, which we can see in the manifest. We have the magician in the reverse over here, so there is some correlation between those 2. And yeah, so let's just keep in mind that those can be applied elsewhere. However, right now we're going to kind of look at them just in the context of this center row, okay? So let's move these cards out the way. And let's see what we got in terms of our... Oof, okay. Did not realize that card was still in the deck. That's okay. Oh my goodness. Wow. Pisces. Pisces, Pisces, Pisces. You have got one hell of a spread going on today. Lots of big energy going on here. Okay, so let's look at our unforeseen obstacles first. So, didn't realize I still had this card in my deck, but this is the card, you probably can't see it, but this is the card that comes at the beginning of a tarot package, kind of like the advertisement card. Says the name of the tarot deck on it. So this is the Golden Art Nouveau tarot deck. However, I will say that this is depicting the card of Temperance and is in the reverse. So how I like to read this card, because I have pulled this card before, probably why it is still in my deck. This to me comes across as 2 different things. One, Temperance in reverse, right? I do believe that this card is representing Temperance as a major arcana card. However, this is not the Temperance card, obviously, because it's the artwork card or the advertisement card for the deck. So how I view this card is it is illusionary. It is masquerading. It is dream. It is veil. It is mistaken identity for Temperance, okay? So let's keep looking at the rest of these, and we'll come back to that. But this is also, you got two more major arcana cards here. So Temperance is fake Temperance, if you want to call it that. This center card, we are looking at the King of Pentacles, okay? So King of Pentacles, lots of big card numbers or suits, not suits, but just big players in your whole spread. There are no small numbered suit cards whatsoever. So we got the King of Pentacles, and then to finish it out, we have got the Tower in reverse. Okay, so another major arcana card. So that brings us to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 major arcana cards, 2 more kings, a 9 and an 8. Like, holy cow. Definitely you are coming to the end of something in February, and it seems like it is much needed, just rebirth, recycle, rejuvenation. Okay, so let us look at these obstacle cards first. First and foremost, I'm looking at this King of Pentacles here, and the first thing that's really standing out to me are these buffalo, steer. I think they're buffalo. But it's definitely, I'm pretty sure this is Taurus. However, even though it's Taurus, it is kind of giving me a little bit of an Aries vibe. I'm not sure why I'm getting an Aries vibe, but I am getting a little bit of an Aries vibe. But, you know, just being very grounded. You know, you have this wealth. That's what these pentacles are signifying. But maybe you are looking a little bit out too much for yourself, and maybe we're kind of losing sight of how we can now take that wealth that we've accrued, this wealth that we've you know, worked really hard for and manifested, and whatever the things we've done for it. Are we still considering how we can take that which we have gotten or earned, and how can we give it back? You know, how can we disperse it out so that everybody is a winner? We're not just, you know, thinking about ourselves and hoarding things for ourselves. So that's kind of like the vibe that I'm getting with the King of Pentacles, just kind of in this moment of time. Now, he is in the upright. This would normally be something that you would see in the reverse, but because it is in the challenges, the unforeseen challenges, I do feel like this is just kind of alluding to make sure that we're not being selfish or stingy with whatever it is that we're gaining during this period of time. And obviously there's a big change happening for you. And, oh, excuse me, card. Big change happening. Don't mind me. And we just need to keep priorities in check. Once again, coming back up to this Hermit, it is right below the Hermit. So, you know, just self-reflection is going to be really important for you this month. So let's look at some of these other unforeseen obstacles. So we have fake Temperance in the reverse. So Temperance, patience, gratitude, lots of spiritual nature. So in the reverse, let's just reverse that and be impatient, right? So having this impatience with this fake Temperance, how I'm kind of viewing this is maybe you're going to have a situation where someone is coming off one way. They're putting on a face for you, a facade, if you will, where they are portraying either their opinions or their personality or their intentions or whatever it may be. They're portraying it one way, okay? But in reality, it's coming off, or it's not that it's coming off, it just, their intentions are not that way. So I am inclined to say that they are coming to you with something rather like a pure intention or a good or positive, uplifting intention. You know, the white of her robe signifying purity to me is kind of giving me that feeling. But that's not really what they are intending to do. They just want you to think that. Hence this mistaken identity, illusion, dream, veil. Inability to see something clearly is how I like to read this card. So I would just be careful if you feel like there is someone in your life or coming into your life that is doing something that you kind of feel in your gut is maybe not their true intentions, or they're just kind of giving you like a little, I don't know, I just feel some type of way about this person or what they said or something that they did. Once again, Hermit, this is right above the Hermit. I cannot stress enough this self-reflection that needs to be taking place. Actually, now that I'm looking at everything, of all your major arcana cards, because you have a ton, the only ones that are in the upright are both of the Hermits. Every other major arcana card is in the reverse. World, Magician, Tower, Emperor, and this fake Temperance. So take that for what it is. I really think this is putting just a ton of emphasis on self-reflection. Let's keep going on. Let's look at this last unforeseen obstacle card. So we have got the Tower in reverse. So Tower in general is once again cycles. It is the destruction of one thing in order to build something new. So this, very common theme throughout your whole spread is something big is happening this month for you. Something is changing. There is going to be rebirth, a new cycle, a, burning down of the old so that the new can be constructed. And sorry, I just got distracted a little bit by this card. Sometimes the imagery really kind of just like pulls to me and makes me want to look at it. I kind of like, just something I'm kind of noticing here, I kind of like that this Tower in reverse card, right? He's got these people that they're jumping out of the tower, they're trying to save themselves. And while they're doing that, because of the direction that they're facing and because of this direction, we have the Magician. He's reaching out his wand. So, we have his bottom hand is obviously pointing to the material world, correct? So we have this wand that's pointing up towards more of like the spiritual, higher energy world, maybe kind of other dimensions outside of the material world. Even though he is the material manifester, he does still have that connection to the spiritual, to the unconscious. So I feel like something else that this is kind of just really, it's really a reiteration to me, is that these people, in order to save themselves, are jumping out of this burning tower, and they are ineffectively, they are effectively, jumping towards the Magician, who is raising his arm to them with this wand in his hand. So to me, once again, this whole little scenario right here is talking about introspection, spirituality, being in alignment with our inner selves, our higher alignment. So once again, just even more emphasis on this time of introspection, Pisces. This is going to be really vital for you this month. So, okay, we looked at some of the challenges. Now let us go over and let's look at the positive side and how are we going to overcome them. So let's just start with the oracle cards. Let's get them out of the way. Kind of alluded to them a little bit. We got manifest. Make it happen, right? Magician, also a manifester. Let's see if we can get this Magician in the upright position. So something really important with manifesting that I want to make sure that I point out to everyone watching, whether you are a Pisces, not, or maybe Pisces is just somewhere else in your natal chart. Maybe it's not your sun sign, but it could be your moon or your rising. But whatever the case may be, when we are manifesting, we need to have very clear intentions, okay? We need to know what we're manifesting, right? Have a very clear idea of what that is. Without that clear idea, the kind of example analogy I like to use is a GPS, right? So we all have GPSs on our phone. It just comes standard with phones these days. And if you're trying to get somewhere, manifest. And I'm using manifesting as us trying to get somewhere, to put something into action, to make something exist. If we're trying to get somewhere and we are going to use our GPS, right? I can pick up my phone, I can open up my GPS, and I can have the map sitting right there, okay? So let's say I'm sitting in my car. And I put the GPS on my little dashboard, and I'm sitting there. Pardon me, I'm getting a little crazy. So I'm sitting there, and I'm staring at my GPS. What is my GPS doing? Nothing. It is doing absolutely nothing. Why is it doing absolutely nothing? Because I've never put an address in. I never put a destination into this GPS, okay? So, in order to get somewhere, in order to manifest, we need to know where we're going. I need to have a clear idea of where I'm trying to get to. I can type in my little address. I'm going to hit go. And now my GPS gives me, a couple different pathways I can take. So all of this to say, having a clear idea of where you're going, a clear destination is going to be very important in being able to make things come to fruition, to create things, to manifest things, okay? So, important there. Looking at this other card, this one, it says, becoming braver, resilience, experience, growing stronger, fresh perspective. Love this card. Out of all of these, the thing that is really calling out to me here is fresh perspective. We have so many cards in the reverse in this spread, major arcana cards in reverse. And I think a lot of it is just we need to just view things a little bit differently. We're having some self-doubt. We're having some feelings of not being as fulfilled as we expected, and that is causing us to not be able to push forward in this beginning of a new cycle. So just really having the mindfulness that even if we have gone through these bad experiences or whatever it is that we're ending and we're about to start new from, there's always a lesson to be learned. There's always something positive we can garner out of it. We may just need to change our perspective on that. And I'm pretty sure I said that earlier when I was talking about these top cards. This has kind of been a very common idea in a lot of spreads recently. We're still in Aquarius season. We just had a full moon in Leo. There is a lot of energy surrounding the endings and beginnings of cycles. So not unsurprising in the least. I will say that this one is a little more intense than I have seen yet. So yeah, just be ready for whatever's coming for you, Pisces. Let us look at the tarot cards now, and then we will get down to the considerations for the month. So we have 2 tarot cards that are representative of ways to overcome these obstacles. So they're going to be on top just like that. And we have the 8 of Cups and the 9 of Swords. So 8 of Cups. Time for a change. I know, it's going to come as a huge surprise, but change, transformation, end of one cycle, beginning to the next, right? So this is just echoing what this whole freaking spread is saying. And that is that if there are things that you are still struggling with, these difficulties that are still coming into your life, obstacles, you know what? Leave it in the past. We're starting new. We're ending a cycle. We're beginning a new cycle. I don't care that these cards are in the reverse. They still are signifying end of cycle, beginning of new cycle, okay? With some introspection in between. Once again, end of cycle, beginning of new cycle. Just leave the old shit in the past, okay? We don't need to take it anywhere. It's done. It's over with. Now, 9 of Swords in the reverse. This one effectively is saying kind of the same thing. Let's leave this negative energy, this old stuff in the past. So this one's going to be more talking about something that is paining you. It could be a relationship. It could be something to do with your career, finances, any type of relationship. When I say relationship, it doesn't necessarily mean a romantic relationship. It could be friendships. It could be relationships within a family dynamic, children and parents, or brothers and sisters, or, you know, just whatever kind of family dynamic you have. It can relate to any of those relationships. But it is just needing to release that fear and that pain and not letting it control us, okay? So once again, this tower, if I'm in a building and this building is on fire and it is crumbling to the ground and I'm faced with the reality that I'm going to have to jump out of this building, okay, I'm going to be scared. I'm going to be super scared. I'm going to be so scared, in fact, I probably won't even do it. It's going to put me into some inaction, right? Magician in the reverse, inaction. But what if unknowingly, you know, there's some sort of safety net at the bottom? I can't see it. There's too much smoke. The tower is too high. But there's something at the bottom that's going to catch me, that's going to save me. And I'm so scared not knowing that and just assuming it's not going to be there that I freeze up and I tense up and now I'm just stuck in this burning building. And obviously that's probably not going to pan out well. I would like to also point out that I think something that is really cool about this is that this card, you're probably not going to be able to see it. It's got two girls and one of them has wings and it does look like there is fire behind her. So that just kind of once again is really emphasizing this idea of going forward without fear and not letting fear control you. And especially in this example with this tower that is on fire, you know, she has wings, that's the safety net. So there's two girls here, right? So, and there's two people falling out of this tower. So to me, this is really saying, like, don't let fear keep you from jumping out of the tower because you have this safety net, right? This safety net that's going to pick you up and make sure you don't fall. So, you know, take whatever resonates there with you. The key ideas going forward is to really just leave the past in the past. Like, that is just, both of those are really kind of saying the same thing. So very strong, like, leave past in the past energy happening for you guys. All right, so let's wrap this up. We are finishing with key considerations for the month. So just things to keep in mind as you go throughout the month. Maybe, you know, approach certain situations or decisions or circumstances in a different way, keeping these things in mind. So to start with, we have the Hermit once again. Self-reflection, introspection, alignment, withdrawal if we need it. Reducing outside noise. And by reducing outside noise, I mean anything that is going to be counterproductive to us walking along the path that we are being called to walk on. Maybe you can't hear the path. Maybe you don't know what the path is because you're not quieting yourself enough to be able to listen to that inner guidance, your inner voice, your intuition. And that's really what this Hermit is telling us to do. He's saying, listen to your inner voice. Listen to what your higher calling is and what path that you need to be walking down. And I say that, and what card is it? I feel like this King of Swords really kind of shows it's kind of an abstract view. It is a Dali set of cards. So, you know, if you know anything about Salvador Dali, he is a little crazy with his symbolism, but I love it. Anyways, there is a sheep in this and some mountains. But basically, this is kind of giving me the idea of like a pathway. So, just a little info to share about that particular card. So yes, Hermit, self-reflection. I think we've kind of beat the self-reflection dead horse, you know, as far as we need to. Moving on, so I'm going to kind of look at these two cards together because to me, they honestly are very similar in this orientation. So we have the Emperor in the reverse and we have the King of Swords in the reverse. So both of these, one common meaning for both these cards in the reverse is misuse of power. So the Emperor is an authoritative figure. He is the counterpart to the Empress in the Major Arcana. And then the King of Swords is kind of like this pinnacle of the suit of swords. Also kind of authoritative. He runs the show. He's the boss. So I definitely, excuse me, view these two very, very similarly. Also, something that I really like about this card that I'm kind of just seeing and looking at, it's very interesting, is, I don't know if you can, well, it would be in reverse, but I'm not sure if you can see this very clearly, probably not, but this is the king right here, and then right here, if we were looking at it in the upright, right here, it almost looks like his shadow. It is kind of just a resemblance of his upper body, like his torso up, in blue, as if the sun were shining on this side and going that direction, casting a shadow. And to me, that is really relevant here because it is kind of talking about some shadow work. Maybe we need to, and that would make sense with all these hermits. And also, actually, now that we're looking at this, so hermit up here, correct? Hermit right here, correct? So now where's the shadow at? Corner. Triangle, okay? That to me is significant. That is saying that this needs to be focused on. This is a strong dynamic because all of these are very interrelated with one another, okay? So, shadow work, something on the inside you need to focus on, you need to bring some attention to, you need to do some healing and some work through. Quit shoving it under the rug. It's never going to get better if we don't acknowledge its existence and, take the time to bring it into the light. You don't have to completely get rid of it. We just need to repackage it into something that is going to be helpful and beneficial for us and not something that is going to constantly be spreading negativity. It's like if you have a piece of fruit, okay, with mold on it. Let's say it's a strawberry. We have this strawberry with mold. Let's say we have more strawberries, okay? If the strawberries are touching, it is very likely that this non-moldy strawberry that is touching a moldy strawberry is going to become moldy because it is touching this moldy strawberry. The mold is going to pass over because the mold is trying to survive, and that's how it's going to do it. Now, what if we keep them separate? What if we have one moldy strawberries over here, fresh strawberries over here, okay? Now, after a while, yes, they're all going to mold because fruit, that's what happens. But this molding of these fresh strawberries is probably not going to happen as fast if we keep the moldy strawberry separated from it. Or, better yet, let's get rid of it. Who needs to keep a moldy strawberry? I don't really know what you do with moldy strawberries, but I like to throw them away. So, throw away the moldy strawberry. Now, these other strawberries are more likely going to stay not moldy longer than they would if they were next to that moldy strawberry. All of this is to say we can't keep this negative shadow self within us because it's going to taint everything that's near it. We need to work on that and, reframe it, repackage it so that it is showing up in our life in a more positive way. Now, we don't want to get rid of it because it is important that we learn from our mistakes. So it is something that is going to stay with us. We need to keep with us, but it does need to be addressed. So please keep that in mind. Pisces, I do also believe that is in key considerations for a reason this month. I kind of deviated a little bit, but yes, misuse of authority is kind of the vibe of both of these cards. Just, make sure we are reassessing what our relationships with power look like, that we are neither putting too much control into power, but also we're not too lackadaisical, especially looking at this kind of beginning and ending, ending and beginning of a cycle. Going into a new cycle, we don't want to go into it just kind of like haphazardly, right? If we're haphazardly doing something, we're going to run into this magician reverse where we're kind of doing it, but we're kind of not really doing it, and there's inaction and there's a lack of manifesting, and we're just not going to get anywhere. We're going to be like on a hamster wheel, right? Running, putting effort in. We're doing stuff, we're moving, but we're not going anywhere because we're not fully committing to whatever it is that we are trying to do. If we are being too lackadaisical, too passive about it. Also, just make sure that we are committing to the goals. That goes back to this manifest card. Make sure we have clarity in what we are trying to accomplish. Without clarity, without commitment, then we're going to have nothing to strive for. So that is important. The last consideration with this King of Swords is that his power is eternal, or eternal, excuse me, not eternal, internal. His power is coming from within. It is self-assured power. It is confident power. So in the reverse, lack of self-confidence, just feeling a little unsure about yourself. Once again, the answer to this is going to be this hermit, self-reflection, figuring out what we need to do to be in alignment. And once we can kind of cultivate that, then I believe the rest of this will start kind of working itself out. So the major themes of this month for you are going to just be a lot of self-reflection. You have big things happening. The ending of one cycle, the beginning of the next. Make sure that you are properly preparing yourself for that, so that when it does come, you can fully utilize that new beginning to its fullest potential. Thank you so much, Pisces, for joining me today, and I will see you next month for your March Tarot forecast. Have a great day.